this video, we'll show you how to locate, use and combine open educational resources.
A few years ago, a professor taught a climate change course reaching about 100 students per semester. One day he thought,
if I could upload this course online, then not only would my 100 students have access to it, but others as well.
So he did. And this is what happened.
Anna sent the course's content across the country to Alex, who was studying climate change.
Alex found it so interesting that he forwarded a copy to his friend Lulu in Africa.
Lulu was developing peer-to-peer courses with Philip, so they remixed the content with other resources and created a new course about the impacts of climate change in Africa.
Alan, a participant in the course, shared the content with Gabby, who was studying environmental policy in Latin America.
Gabby brought the content to her class, and together they translated it into Spanish.
With so many new tools and ways to use technology, Open Educational Resources, or OER, have become an important supply from which to draw when developing instructional content. OER are educational materials produced by one party that are licensed to be shared freely and at no cost by others. Let's examine the process of finding and using OER, and how to handle the complications that can arise when combining materials with different licenses. So how do you go about finding and using OER? Let's watch Michelle as she develops a chapter for an open textbook on metabolism. Michelle has been teaching metabolism for years, so she has already developed the text of the chapter from her notes. But she needs some illustrations, specifically of the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain. She'd also like to find some exercises to accompany the text. There are many places to find OER, such as Flickr CC, OER Commons, Connections, Internet Archive, or Open Michigan. Michelle goes to Flickr CC at flickr.com/Creative Commons. That brings her to a collection of all the Flickr images that have Creative Commons licenses. She quickly finds the images she's looking for. Both with CC BY licenses. For exercises, she logs into the Orange Grove, Florida's digital repository where a wide range of OER are available. Here she searches for electron transport chain and turns up some exercise test questions also licensed CC BY. Because there are no restrictions on these images or exercises, Michelle is free to modify them to suit her needs. She resizes and crops the images and writes captions for them. Then for each image, she provides the specific Creative Commons license with a link back to its license deed. Next, she writes the creator's name, linking back to the Flickr site where she found the image. She also adds some references to the images in her text. She then adds the exercises at the end, removes two that do not belong in her chapter, provides attribution to the creator, and links back to the resource. Finally, she adds a Creative Commons license. Because the other content she is using has CC BY licenses, the least restrictive license available, she is free to choose the license she wants. She goes to the Creative Commons page to choose a license. She answers a few questions and her license is selected automatically. She then fills in some information to help others provide proper attribution for her work, and the chooser automatically generates text and code for her document. She copies the text and pastes it onto the first page of her chapter. Michelle used the BY license, which made licensing her new work easy. But not all licenses play well with others. Let's consider some situations where the licenses being combined are more restrictive. Suppose you are developing a work and you want to use some other CC licensed works within yours. If you adapt or derive works offered under Creative Commons licenses, you must not only follow the terms of the licenses involved, but also choose a license for your work that is compatible with the licenses of the works you are using. If a license of a work you want to use is not compatible with yours or another work you plan to use, search for a comparable work with a compatible license, or try to contact the rights holder and request permission to use the work under your license.
New email.
So which licenses are compatible and which are not? The BY license is compatible with any other Creative Commons license, so you can use it with attribution, of course, any way you like. Sometimes the BY license has the No Derivatives or ND provision. The ND provision prohibits the works from being adapted, revised, or combined at all. With a Share Alike or SA provision, your new work must have an identical license as the source content. In other words, this license lets others remix, tweak, and build upon a work, as long as they credit the creator and license their derivatives under identical terms. Finally, the non-commercial or NC provision makes the license compatible with any of the three licenses with an NC component: BY NC itself, BY NC SA, or even BY NC ND. Charles also has two resources that he wants to use with his chapter. One is a photograph with an attribution Share Alike license, and the other is a set of exercises with an attribution non-commercial license. He figures he can cover them both by licensing his chapter with a BY NC SA license. Beth?
No way, Chuck. Not unless you obtain permission from the photographer. Share Alike means you have to use the exact same license, and the BY NC license of the exercises won't let you do that.
Well, what if I use this resource?
BY license? You're good to go.
Thanks, guys.
No problem.
When it comes down to it, some combinations of licenses just aren't compatible, and some combinations, like Andrea's, give several options. Fortunately, the number of resources with open licenses is huge, and it's growing every day. So don't give up if the work you want to use has an incompatible license. There's plenty, and that's it. It's pretty easy when you get the hang of it. Now you'll be able to produce properly licensed open educational resources that could benefit many people. So good luck.
So we see how Creative Commons can remove the worry about copyright and dealing with copyright materials. Creative Commons licenses specify the rules for how to use the content, so there's no confusion about what you can or can't do. It's a great way to create your own educational resources by using, collating, and repurposing other open material. OER allows you to create educational resources that are portable and easily adaptable. You can make your educational materials openly available to others, which is encouraged by La Trobe University's intellectual property policy. Textbooks create a wall between educators and students because they are expensive and take a long time to develop and update. Open educational resources help to break down the barriers to education, especially for students from low socioeconomic backgrounds.
It's great that OER are available for informal study, and lots of people are doing that and taking advantage of it. But we're not lowering the cost of education, and we're not improving the quality of education unless open educational resources are making their way into schools and into colleges and into universities and displacing what had been there before. And it turns out to take a lot of on-the-ground work to make that happen.